In the past 2 years, the pandemic happened. People lost their lives. Suddenly, we can't see each other anymore. And the world was in halt. Each one of us was affected in a negative way. But it just so happens that those years were also the toughest of my life so far. I had personal problems going on that were magnified by the wrath of the pandemic. Today, I want to share with you 4 letters that helped me through those dark times and are still helping me today. Those 4 letters are K, P, O, P. Hi, my name is Emmanuel, and this is how K-pop ruined my life. No, I'm just kidding. Let me do that again. Hi, my name is Emmanuel, and this is how I became a K-pop fan. Korean pop music, or what's commonly known as K-pop. If I remember correctly, the first K-pop song that I have ever heard is probably Nobody by Wonder Girls. It was a huge hit back then, and even though I still wasn't aware of what K-pop is, I was perfectly aware that that song was good, and also it was on a language that I didn't understand. As I grow up, I have been more knowledgeable about it, and I witnessed what being a K-pop fan is. In elementary, I had classmates that were into K-pop, and they knew the names of the group, and they were so geeky about them. I just didn't bother to think about it back then. I just thought it was just another thing that other people like that I'm not into. Then high school came. I had classmates who would shriek and shout and make weird noises whenever they watched videos of their K-idols. And that's when I started to think, this is kind of weird. Like, why are they so into these people? Yes, they are talented, but they're just dancing and singing. And yes, they were attractive, but I just don't see the point. Then in 10th grade, I had one of my closest friends, Patricia, introduce us to a K-pop group that she likes. The group's name is 17. They were an all-male K-pop group. And my first thought on hearing the group's name was, oh yeah, they always give these groups English names that are easy to remember and even add numbers to them to make them more memorable. But this was the first time I heard a group whose name is a literal number. And to think they named them 17, but they only had 13 members. It's wild. She made me listen to their newly released song at the moment. I actually really liked music and was genuinely interested to hear how they sound like. So she played the song, and then as I listened to it, I thought it was happy and cheerful and bright and very pop. It was everything a K-pop song would be like. Although I really had a few parts of it that I enjoyed, and I also loved the overall feel of the song. I just thought that it was a bit too much for me. She was so passionate about them that she buys their albums and merch. I was with our other friends at that time. She showed us this wallet that she had that had their group picture on it. She showed us who her bias is, and that was my introduction to K-pop jargons. I asked what a bias is, and she said it's literally bias, someone you like, the person from the group that you like the most. And so what I did was just scan through the photo and look for the member that I thought was most attractive. And that's how I had a bias. So at this point, despite her telling us everything about this group and how good they are and the awards they won and everything they went through, I just still couldn't care more. I was just seeing it as her little obsession that we need to support her too as friends. But it all made me wonder, why spend time and money and energy over those men? I get it, she likes them. But my point of reference was just how I liked other musicians that I know. And most, I just liked them because of their music. So I was still alienated by her passion and intense commitment to them. This would go on until now. And along with that, I witness what discrimination she faces too. I admit I was part of the teasing whenever we were with our friends, which may seem shallow, but still is discrimination. But there are those who were really more harsh and sometimes below the belt. To be exact, some of our teachers back then would tease them to shame. They would start like sounding like they're joking, but they end up like preaching. They would comment on them and say things like, "You don't even understand what they're singing," or they would never even know that you exist, or "Why don't you just support local musicians?" Or even saying that this was already an addiction. It was all a shame to witness, and it made me wonder why, despite all of this, she still likes them and seemed to like them more because of that. Fast forward to 2020, lockdown happened. It was just after my second year in university, and all I could do was surf the internet at home. I kept myself busy to distract myself from everything that's happening. I would watch YouTube videos and then I rewatch a few animes that I liked. But I remember every time that I see the sunset, as the light that shined from my window slowly turned from yellow to orange, I can feel a dark feeling inside. It's like a combined feeling of the family problems that I had then, the feeling of sadness and loneliness because I'm stuck at home, the growing pains of adulting and knowing that I have to look after myself now, and also that certain feeling and knowing that there's no security and that we are still in the middle of the pandemic and people are dying everywhere. I could feel them all at once inside me in a glowing, throbbing pain. And what I did was just cope with it. Then, early December, my friend Patricia told me about this national painting competition that had a big prize, and we thought we'd give it a try. We decided to work at their house because it was more spacious, and luckily it was just a few streets away from our house, and lockdown wasn't that strict anymore. So we would work till midnight, and when we take a break halfway through, we would watch this show online, which was called Going 17. It was basically a variety show of our K-pop idols 17, and they just do all sorts of stuff together. It's produced by them and they upload it on their YouTube channel every week, and it's just them literally playing and doing stuff that are entertaining. We watched them as we did the painting, and man, they were so fun. They did all sorts of interesting games like traditional Korean street games, eating challenges, going to haunted buildings, playing tag, bungee jumping, and just experiencing all sorts of things. My favorite would probably be a game called Mafia. It's basically just a game where they find an imposter among themselves. It's just like the game Among Us, which coincidentally blew up at that time. I remember how I slowly start to recognize their faces and remember their names and get to know their personalities, and along with that, adore their friendship. I even remember how bad I wanted to play Mafia with my friend. We would finish our paintings and submit them. We didn't win, but I think Patricia won on something else. Because I continued to watch the show at home and ask her for more when I finished it. I would ask her for all the variety shows appearances that 17 made, and anything and everything that I consume. I listened to their music and even started identifying with their fandom name too. I was watching before my eyes how I slowly turned into a K-pop fan. At some point, it was like a defeat because she successfully corrupted me with her K-pop group to the point that I'm more enthusiastic about them these days than her. But also, I feel so happy because I've never been a fan of anything before, or at least been a fan this hard. It was a nice feeling to have something I like other than arts and music and other hobbies that I had. I had something that kept me smiling and something to look forward to. Now that I became a K-pop fan myself, the questions that always bugged me back then about my friend, I completely understand where the passion and intensity for these K-pop idols is coming from. These K-pop idols or groups aren't just a source of entertainment anymore. They were a source of comfort and inspiration. As I've noticed, or at least in my case, I've been more vulnerable to K-pop and more into them when I was in my lowest. It was when I needed something to make me smile or something to take my attention away from my problems. I was inspired on the things that they went through, by the relationships they had with one another, their friendship, and the way they treat their staff and their job. I was also inspired on their perseverance, knowing the things that they had to go through to be able to be where they are right now, and the things that they had to sacrifice to get their dreams. It kind of gives me a push and a wake-up call after they comforted me. At the end, they like snap their fingers and wake you up and tell you, now it's time for you to fix your life. And it's just amazing how these people may never know that I exist, yet I am so connected with them. I am just thankful that I was able to be a fan and to experience how good it is to have someone you admire and someone who keeps you inspiration while giving you comfort, because they kept me afloat when I was drowning with emotions that I didn't know how to deal with. And even though they were not the solution to all your problems, their essence is just to be with you while you go through those hard times and to accompany you while you're in the storm. And all the passion that I have for them now is just converted into gratitude. And just recently, I believe it was October 8th, 17 had their concert here in the Philippines. I did all that I could do to get a ticket and secure a ticket. It was months away, and I even ended up putting my phone in the pawn shop because I had to have that urgent money. I did everything I could, but competition was so tough. And it's probably because of the fact that this can possibly be their last concert altogether. As I said earlier, there are 13 members, and as we know, in Korea, men are required to go to the military, and two of the eldest members are already in the age to go and are more likely or probably be going next year, 2023. And also, a common thing around K-pop idols is that mostly when they are in the military phase, that's when they slowly lose their fame or their fan base. And because we are talking about 13 members here, it will be a long time before we can have a concert where they are complete again. And so it was truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. They've been here before, but it's a shame that I just had been a fan now. And now that I'm already a fan, it's also a shame that I wasn't able to attend their concert. And even though I wasn't able to see them, I'm still hopeful that I'd be able to see them one day. I envision myself in the arena along with other fans, with a light stick on my hand, hopefully, waving it in the air to show them how much I am thankful for them as I sing along with their songs. This has been Emmanuel. Thank you for listening.